Hello, Chocy Chat. It's Friday. It is the 7th of June. It's episode 138, which is actually 138 weeks of Chocy Chat. Do you know that? 3 years ago today. 138 weeks of Chocy Chat. It's pretty epic. Pretty epic. Anyway, how is everybody doing? It's Chocy Chat. How are you? Let's say hello to some people out there everywhere. Alex Eats. Hello, Alex. Shazlayla, I don't pronounce that right. Mrs. So Sassy joined us. Hello. Mariba there down in New Zealand. Bart in Holland. How are you? My gosh, lots. Bonbon Grun Grun. I think that is Bart, isn't it? Bart's on both pages. So I'm going to say some Women's Chocolates Academy. Hello. Temptation Chocolates in Ireland. Women's Chocolate Academy. You're in Turkey? Or you're in Iran? I think you're in Turkey. Susanna there. Hello. Yeah, how can that be 3 years? Do you know what? Well, I was just talking to Ronnie about this now, Mrs. So Sassy. And 3 years has gone like a blink of an eye, right? 3 years is just crazy. It's 138 episodes. We've missed a few, which I think I can be forgiven for, right? Holidays and school stuff and bits and pieces. But 138. So I was just saying to Ronnie now that it's been absolutely amazing, this journey. I've sat here every Friday night and talked, and lots of people have joined, and that's great. And it's kind of become people's Friday night thing. But also, we see all the people that we know, and as we go through all of this, and we're like, oh, we know that. So we're kind of fangirling on it all as well, right? So it's like, well, we know that person. Mind Your Temper there, Dolce Mara, Pretty Reem, hello, Chocolate Meander. Yeah, it's cool for us as well, right? I'm part of Chocy Chat crew as well, right? I'm part of Chocy Chat. And when I'm not here to do Chocy, I miss Chocy Chat as well, right? So it's all good. Let me send some hellos out and send some waves. Chocolate Neander, Crazy Chefs joined, Nettie there, I can see. 3 years. 3 years has gone pretty fast, hasn't it? 3 years. I got some. Here's the thing. So on my Instagram, the little icon appeared last week, and it was for subscriptions, and I think it prompted a couple of questions. I didn't put that there. I don't know why that's there. I'm not doing subscriptions. Somebody asked me if I was putting Chocy Chat on subscriptions. No, I'm not. Why would I charge people money to have a chat with me, right? It's Chocy Chat. You all get to see each other as well, and you're all sharing information too, so it's not just me. Within the comments there's some amazing stuff going on, some amazing stuff that gets answered. People dotted all around the world are getting connected with suppliers and produce and techniques, and I know that you all talk to each other. I know that you all there's this big one mass that's dotted all over the planet, and I know that Rania, she looks at where people are from and where they are, and it's just mind-blowing. It's not something I'd put on a subscription. I don't know why that's appeared on my page. I don't know how to get rid of it. Who knows? Who knows? But no, there is no plan to do subscriptions of anything in any way, shape or form, right? Chocy Chat is Chocy Chat. It's Friday night, at 8:30. And 3 years on, here's to a few more years, right? Definitely. So, let's send some more waves out there. There's lots of people joining already. Happy 3 years. Good evening, Loney. Nadia there, I can see. Sola Sola is in Iceland. Gosh, I've got to try and remember where everybody is now. Kelly's joined us in the States. Stuart up in the Lake District. We've got all over. We've got Jason is now Ethan Bradley Chocolates. Jason's in the Napa Valley. We're all Lass. How is everybody doing? Hi there, crew. Hope you're all doing grand this week. There's some lovely stuff being posted this week. I got some really nice things to show you over the next few days. I did a post earlier. I've done a few posts this week. Those I did earlier. These ones I posted earlier in the week. So those were those ones. These ones will be a post that I'll do later today. These are a bar. Okay. So we poured the chocolate on and actually blow just with air, rippled all the chocolate on top of that just with the air from the air gun. So it's just chocolate, and there's a hazelnut gandulia, and then there's hazelnuts in there and orange as well. So I made that for Mrs. So Sassy because it's her favourite. And then there's another one here. I don't want to lift this up too much, but I'm going to show you all how this is done later. So we've got a post. So that one's, how's my capping? Is my capping all right? Is capping good? Is it nice and shiny? Tempered chocolate, 33 degrees cap. So there's a couple of posts, done a couple of posts this week, did a couple of controversial posts or things that certainly challenge people. I've had a busy week, I've had a really, really busy week. Hi Stuart, Surfer Leg, I think down in New Zealand as well. How do I get the colours in Jordan? We're in talks with a distributor for the Middle East. Slow going, so yeah. Whoop whoop, happy third birthday. I know, I can't believe it's 3 years. It's just I don't know where the days go. I can't believe it's the 7th of June, right? It's the 7th of June, so we're kind of nearly a couple of weeks' time, we're halfway through the year, which is even more. It seems like 2 minutes since we were talking about Easter and Mother's Day or Valentine's, right? So, talking of which, I did a post earlier in the week. I hope everybody saw that. It was like an orange square, and it said at the start of it, chocolatiers, now that it's summer, what should you be thinking about? Have a look at that post, because that should prompt you to have a think about now. What's happening now is taking stock, having a look at what you've done, having a look at what you'd like to do. So there's some planning and there's some reflection. The reflection element needs to be positive reflection. So what did you do that you liked? And if there was something that you didn't like, move on for it or adjust it if you think you need to for the positive, right? So it's always going to be kind of looking forward rather than rear view mirrors, what I did last year. So have a reflection on what it is that you've done and what went well and what did you like, and use that as half your tools to go forward for, this is what I'm going to do this year. So this is my intent to do next year. And start having a look, start doing stock takes, start writing down your recipes. If you're scaling up, it's always going to be how many molds you've got, how much, there's a difference between a goal and a target, right? The goal, if the goal is to sell 100 calendars, the target can be 130. So what do? Do you buy 130 or do you go with your target and then try and reach your goal? If you go over it, absolutely happy days. There's no doubt with pricing, it's going to be a little bit difficult this year, but for everybody, right? But yeah, have a look at that. There should be stuff that you're working on now, and it needs to be what's the vision of what I want to see happen when we get to kind of October, November. What do the sales look like? What do the forecasts look like? What would I like to do? What's my goal? What's my target? How do I get there? Very often, if you write all this stuff down, you'll find that you'll achieve those things quite easily. If you don't write them down, you're going to go into September, October, November guessing, and you don't want to be guessing. You want to be doing a little bit more than last year, but the minimum is whatever you did last year. And I hope that you've all written down what were your numbers, what did you sell. You should have all that stuff down, right? But it's all good. So Pastry ML, how are you? I'm just going to scroll through. There's so many people saying hello to. Lots of people joined. Anybody familiar with Pontier products? Yeah, Jason. I've used them. They're quite readily available here. Yeah, they are good. They're not. So they're a Tetra Pak, almost like UHT puree, right? I really like them. I like the flavours. I like the height flavour of them. I've only had one comment, is that they're a little bit dull in colour. So when you get lovely kind of the frozen Byron purees, they're very, very bright and vibrant. Pontier products, a little bit dull. I think that you buy what you can afford as well. That's the other thing. Give them a test, right? Give them a test. Buy one and have a look at it and see how you go. I think, if I'm honest, they come in smaller pouch packs rather than buying a kilo of something, which I kind of like. Freezable as well, I believe. W Bakery, hello. Alison, I can see in Canada. Hope you're well, Alison. Bonbons joined us. There's been amazing posts this week. Truly, truly amazing posts. I know that Rania and I, we sit down and we look at all this stuff because we're kind of chocolate geeks as well, right? And we're always showing each other's phones going, oh, look at that. And the other side of that is like, oh no, we know that person, or they've been here, or we've done a class, or I've met them in person. It's all very, very cool. I get excited by it too, right, obviously. So, talking pricing, got an email from one of the suppliers, Caliber increasing prices again by 30-40%, shocking. Yeah, no surprise with likes of those. Their aim will be to try and keep the prices up, right, so they can keep their shareholders happy. And as Dallas wrote on a post today, I think on the forum, there's plenty of other options out there, right? There's plenty of other options out there. There are more than one fish in the sea. So, Erin, logged in on my phone and my kitchen TV. Like the sound quality of the TV over my mixer. Brilliant. Nice one, Erin. Everybody's been really busy. I said, there's been some really lovely chocolates posted this week. I think what happens is you get to this time of year, and whilst you're not selling, you want to try and start making, or looking at designs, or looking at new things, or looking at things that you'd like to try, things that you've not done before, and having a look at skills. Do you know what it is always worth doing? And I've said this to chefs for many, many, many years. Keep going back to the beginning, to the basics, right? Because if all the basics, and I'll tell you what differentiates very good chefs from kind of average ones, the very, very good chefs have the basics down to an absolute fine art. They make the basics look, what's the word? Complicated, right? They do the basics so incredibly well that everything that they do is built on top of that layer of the basics, right? I think this time of year it's just worth going back and saying, do I know what? Do I know how to form an emulsion? Am I tempering cocoa butter properly? Am I allowing that dry phase? Am I shelling properly? Am I wasting? What am I doing? And I just have a look at all those little processes, basics. Chocolate is not, or cooking, any kind of cooking. It's not one big job, is it? It's lots of little tasks done well. And if you break them all down into tiny little tasks, actually gets a lot easier, right? It gives you a chance to focus on those things. Mrs. Caramel is in Arizona. You're in Goodyear, Arizona. I know that. I remember that. I have to sit here and remember where everybody's in. Ian Wilson, how are you, mate? I haven't spoken to you in a long time. Kenneth there, Chocolate Art UK. There's no questions tonight. Nobody's got any questions. Nobody's got a voice. If I just scroll through a whole load of questions, so. Good answer, Pastry ML. I wanted to say that the quality change of it's very, very good. A lot of people in Argentina. Hello, Argentina. I'm good, mate. Ian, yeah, I'm good. Busy. Busy boy, busy, just, getting stuff done, just getting stuff in, drinking tea, making chocolate, lots of classes, lots of butters. Tough this time of year for a lot of chocolatiers. Everybody's kind of jumped on doing coaching or teaching or training or doing workshops are a brilliant idea this time of year, particularly if the kids are off school, to try and drive some more revenue. Happy just getting on with what I'm doing. Back to everyone sending me waves. I can't work out how to wave at people. I don't know, it's not got that on here. I don't know, Paula, I can't wave. Can I wave to everybody? I don't know. I can wave back, but only if somebody waves at me, but I can't wave at them. Are tabletop vibrating machines worth it? I don't have one. I've never felt the need to have one. I know people that do have them and like them, so they probably are. When you say is it worth it, depends how much you're paying. Like if you're paying quite a few £100s for it, is it worth it for the number of moulds that you're doing? Honestly, the thing that's changed it for me more than anything is that, because I've got those grips, I don't really find I have a major problem tapping the air out. I think if I didn't have those and I had to hold 40, 50, 60, 70 or 100 of these, I think my wrists would give in, because like riddled with arthritis, my wrists just collapse after a while. So they've been a game changer for me. Vibrating table, I've only ever used them on the sell-me machines. I'm sure they are worth it. Whatever, if you've got the money to invest into it, like, don't buy it if you don't think it's going to help you. If you think it's going to help you and it will speed up production, then it's a good purchase. If it doesn't speed up production and it's kind of a gimmick, just be very, very careful, right? Crochet fans, lots of new names here. If you are new on a Friday night, welcome, firstly, to Chocy Chat. Secondly, if you've got a question, fire away. I can't promise to answer everything, but if I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. I don't tell you. I'm not going to sit here and bluff every night. So, 3 years in, I think I've got it down to a fine art now. So, Jenny Flenny, hello. My gosh, there's lots of new names here. If you are new, if you've never been on Chocy Chat before, by all means, ask a question. If it's about chocolate, if it's about fillings, could be about tempering, could be about the big one I get this one all the time. How do you get them shiny? Do you like that? I did that one, and then I wished I hadn't done the red galaxy across it. And I used a sponge because I wanted to do some posts that didn't involve an airbrush, even though I love airbrushing. Can't help it. I even made these bars. And it's like, I'll just get the airbrush out and we'll just give those a little blow. There you go, Paula. Somebody's worked out how to you can wave. Could somebody give me some inspiration with how to use blue pearl without an airbrush? I can paint. Can I paint with it? How should I layer? Does a nice dark colour look good? Yeah, blue pearl. Grab yourself. Oh, here's a trick, right? I was painting today. Should I get the colour out that I was painting? That was the Hello Sunshine. Warm the brush. That's just a standard. Everybody's like, what brush do you use? It's not. It's just a standard painting brush, nylon bristled painting brush, right? And what you're looking for, I'll answer that thing on the blue pearl in a minute because it's relevant to this. What you're looking for is a broad tip so that when you brush, it splays outwards. Okay, so it will flatten and splay outwards. That's really helpful. If it's a long torpedo brush, when you go to paint, what it does, it splits in the middle, so you end up with two V's pointing down your mould. You're looking for a broad brush that's got quite a wide. What I will do as well at some point is I will just trim that flat, okay? And it will just give me a better option when I'm painting down. Now, blue pearl is, and warm the brush, right? While you're painting, you will find that just gets all clammy and it just gets all gunked up and there's lots of buttons sticking to it. Just keep giving that warm with your hairdryer, not a heat gun. If you put a heat gun on it, you'll probably melt the nylon bristles. Just warm that up. I have a couple in the dehydrator and I just swap between them. As long as that's not over 33.8, if that's over 33.8, that's really, really hot. When you put you'll get your cocoa butter out of temper, right? With the blue pearl, what's really, really nice, swirl it round. If you've got the deep molds, if you've got or domes, I should say, paint it in and just keep swirling it round. But you can also finger paint it and swirl it round. If you spray that with black, or you spray that with a dark green, the other thing that you can do is swirl the blue pearl round. When that's dry, just go in with a tiny little bit of copper, like a tiny bit of copper, and swirl that background, and then just spray it with a dark colour, either the black or go with one of the type A colours that are dark, so the midnight blue, the forest green. You can paint with, whether you airbrush it or just paint again. Blue pearl looks really good against a really dark colour. It's fantastic against black. It's fantastic against the dark green, the forest green. Swirl it round like you would normally do, right? It's an interference colour, so if you put black behind it or a dark colour behind it, it'll be so much more visual, right? Always. Hope that answered that, Surfer Lake. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 3 years, Sarah. It started, I think I've told this story before, but I was airbrushing in here, so it would have been 3 years ago. I'd finished a class and I was airbrushing, and I'd not done a live before, and it's like, oh, I'll just turn it on and see what this is all about. I was videoing myself airbrushing, right? And I hit the live and it came on, and I ignored everybody on there, and I was just spraying because it made me a little bit nervous, right? Yes, me nervous. And then people started asking questions, so I had to kind of stop, and then I said, well, tell you what I'll do, I'll come back in an hour, or I'll come back at 7:30 and I'll answer some more of the questions. And it was about airbrush and those bits, and I think that very first post is there. Like, I didn't name them episodes one, so I had to track back to find out that this was this is 138 weeks today. And there are people that have pointed out to me that there's another one at 8 o'clock on Friday, and there is another one that's once a month, and there's room for all of us. I'm not worried about competition. Don't bother me at all. Competition's a good thing, right? And I think somebody said that they're copying me. That's been my career. I've been copied throughout my career, as a chef with royal families to chefs in my own restaurants. I can't think of a time where I haven't been copied. It's flattering, as long as they do it some justice, right? I think that's fair, but there's room for all of us, right? I prefer community over competition, right? I think there's enough room for absolutely every single one of us. And unfortunately, there are people that have decided to stop doing chocolate. That will leave room for more of us, right? And I think it's about getting your costs right, pitching your product to your customers. You've got to go and find your customers, so you can't start putting Valrhona chocolate in if they can't afford that. You just got to be very, very careful. But you pitch to your customer's budget, and you need to try and work out what that is. So, Erin's saying, if I wanted to make pineapple caramel, could I just use your passion fruit caramel recipe and change the fruit, or would need to consider other alterations? I want to have a good level of acidity. Yeah, just swap the juice like for like. A caramel will be a caramel. Once you cook it back to 104, you'll have boiled off most of the water anyway. So you'd be back to the fruit flavonoids or the juice, and then bound up with the fats and sugars from the cream, and also from the fats from the cream and sugar from the sugars, right? And the caramel. By caramelizing it, we will tone down some of the sweetness to it. Pineapple makes a really, really good caramel. Just make sure that you strain it and there is no fibre in there. You need to put it through a really, really fine sieve. Don't go using pineapple juice like the Tetra Pak, because that's got additional sugars in it, and you'll find that when you try and boil it down, the thing just sets like toffee, right? But yeah, swap that like for like. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. I think pineapple, you might have to just reduce that juice down by half just to give you a massive flavour, a bigger hit of flavour. I don't think pineapple juice on its own is as a flavour is as strong as passion fruit on its own. So maybe take half that liquid and just reduce it by half. And the easiest way to do that, I will get the pan, I'll put the juice in it, okay, we'll put that on the stove. When I think it's about half, we'll put the pan and the juice, and we'll put that on a scale, and we'll get a reading, okay? And then we'll put that on the stove, we'll boil it down, we get about to reduce to half, and just put that back on the scales, and that'll tell you whether you've got the half amount or not. I've seen people reduce it down and then pour the excess out to weigh it. Just weigh the pan and everything, just put it back at zero, right? And it's an easy way of doing it. And if you do it at zero, most scales have the ability to just have a hold button, so it will just stay on while it's reducing down. So that's a good way of doing that. Forest Red Chocolates, hello. She posted some lovely stuff this week. Really, Lonely posted some raisins. I couldn't even name all there's absolutely amazing stuff being posted this week. I mean, truly, truly, truly beautiful work. Really, really beautiful work. Does anybody have any tips on how to enrobe truffles, the pre-made shells that you fill? Do you dip them or wet with chocolate using your hands? Pair of gloves on, and have I got some? Yes. Is that what you're talking about? Where's a pair of gloves? I haven't got any chocolate melted. I had a pair of gloves. Where have they got? Let's get a pair of gloves. I like these because I get to do demos as well, right? So there's two ways you can do those. You can, there's a couple of ways of doing this. You can dip them with a fork, right, which is a little bit messy. I tell you what I prefer to do. Once you've filled those, and then you cap them. You do need to cap them, and capping them is as simple as you fill them up with your filling and let that set. Leave yourself a little bit of room, and then you're just going to pipe chocolate into the top, and it will just round off that top so that they will roll. What I tend to do is I don't drop that in the chocolate. What I will do is put the chocolate in my hands, put that one in, and just give it a roll round. If you squeeze it up, oh, you can't see. If you squeeze it up through your fingers, it comes out up the top like that. Yeah. And then we just roll them away. Okay. If you want to get a really, and that will just give you and you're not putting a huge thick layer on them, all right? You're just rolling them. But you want to get chocolate down to kind of temperature. This is where silk comes in, right? You know, that lazy silk that I talk about. You've got silk in there, you can drop your chocolate to quite a low temperature. So if you start rolling them and the chocolate's around about 26, what you'll find is you'll get this bullseye, and in the center it's kind of liquidy, and then all you need to do is just give it a quick hair dry just to get it a little bit more fluid again. Get that chocolate at the lowest temperature that you can. Don't have these come straight out of the fridge, otherwise you'll end up with a really thick layer. And you're just going to roll them, and I tend to squeeze them up through my hands so they come out over the top like that, and then we just roll them away. From that point, then you can decide what you want to do, because you can do lusserdus. Once those have set, you can then do another very, very thin layer. Again, it's chocolate on your hands, just slightly wetted hands, so it's already been covered. And when that's dry, just tiny little bit of chocolate on your hands, give it a really quick roll, and then you can put it into your the covering. So, you know, whether it's coconut, whether it's frillatine, whether it's vermicelli, whether it's chocolate shards, whether it's cocoa powder, totally up to you. Just wasted a pair of gloves there, haven't I? Cup of tea time. I wouldn't don't overthink truffles, because if you put them in the box to present them, yeah, you can start decorating them really nicely. If you put them into bags, they can kind of get rattled around a little bit. Concentrate on flavour. Concentrate on the flavour that goes in them, and the centre needs to be a little bit. My feeling, the centre needs to be a little bit firmer than the shell on the outside, so that when you eat them, the shell dissolves, and then you're left with the filling, right? I like. There's nothing wrong with getting those either, right? You can do a really good product with those. Really good product. Also helps if you've got little people to help you. I think you've seen the videos, right? I have little helpers. Tie the hair back, put a hairnet on, clean hands, give them gloves. I can have them entertained in here for about 12 hours. Not 12 hours. Maybe like 45, 50 minutes, right? Chocolates by Nana. Well, here's an announcement. This is Tina. Tina I think you got your cottage license this week, didn't you? So well done, really, really well done. I think the next step is to get your nut-free accreditation. And I think Chocolates by Nana, which is Tina, I think you all know Tina, off on her journey, right? Was there right at the very beginning at Chocy Chat, was Tina, and a few years later, everybody's just off doing their businesses. And this is the bit that just blows my mind. At the beginning, we were talking to people who I now know are off on their journey. They're running businesses. They're really successful. We're having classes, and we're at Chocy Chat right at the beginning, right? You know who you are. You all know who you are, right? The bowls that I use, there's nothing special. Everybody thinks I've got all this super duper special kit. I don't. We got those from an art shop. I teach home producers. I've said this a couple of times. I teach home producers, so the stuff that we buy, I don't go out to industry and find things that you can buy. There is no point in me teaching chocolate to students, or chocolatiering to students, or bonbon making to people that then can't go and buy the equipment, right? That's just not the way forward. They are just bowls from a shop here locally. There is a business to be made in America right now supplying plastic bowls, because I know lots of people that just cannot find plastic bowls, and it's a scratching my head moment a little bit in the US, because it's the land of plenty. I've been there many times. I can't believe people can't get plastic bowls very easily, and I'm not saying that off the cuff. I've family friends that can't find plastic bowls. We shipped some of these. I mean, like the ones in the UK, I've probably got all of them. These are just plastic bowls. They were the cheap plastic bowls. They got a little rubber base on them, which I kind of melted, and they're just cheap bowls. They're like, the shop's called Morrison's here. If we go by and there's any bowls in there, Randy and I will take all of them, because you never have enough bowls, can you? But we will send them out. Maybe, yeah, there's a business there to be made in the US. Definitely. Definitely. Blue Pearl Lusser. Oh, Ron, did everybody see Ron's bars that he posted last week? He sprayed. I don't have that bar mold. I'm gonna give Ron's secret away now. What he did was he sprayed. So imagine that's a wider version of a bar, right? He sprayed black around the edges and left a void in the middle, and then put the Lusser dust down the middle. And they are. Oh, messages coming in everywhere. Sorry, let me get rid of that. Ron, there, really nice. Really, really nice. What a lovely story to start this off. Yes. I watched your cocoa butter live from 2 years ago. None of your so sassy bottles behind you. Amazing how far it's come. I showed Rania a picture of the day that we converted this room over, which is probably getting on for 5 years ago now. I'm a home producer. I'm still at home. I'm not going to make this crazy that I moved from my home into a big factory. I didn't. I'm still at home. I'm quite happy. I love the space that I work in. I've been playing all day today. Today's been a play day, just kind of making stuff, chocolates for the girls that they liked. It's changed a lot. I look back at the photos when we didn't have that, and I didn't have some of the equipment, and we've invested, and we've been lucky to be able to kind of keep the train going. And it's been a lot of hard work, and we work really hard. We work really, 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 really hard. It's pretty much 7 days a week for us, but I guess that's the penalty, isn't it? I do less hours now than when I worked in hotels. And that's a good thing. And I love being my own boss. I love having my own business. I love being able to make my own decisions. I do look back. I don't have much rear view mirrors. I don't tend to look backwards very often. I do look back sometimes at some of the posts from the beginning and go, wow, what a journey, right? But we're still on the journey. I don't think the cool good stuff's happened yet. Do you know that? I truly believe the good stuff hasn't happened yet. Woodrow Chocolates, Simon Woodrow, a really good friend of mine. He makes some absolutely amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing. Simon Woodrow Chocolates. Woodrow Chocolates, go and have a look. Truly, truly, truly amazing. Yeah, Surf Leg, share with me. On the Chocy Chat page, if anybody's got the use of the Blue Pearl, yeah, just show. I think that's some on my page. I think the problem is we're 1,000 posts in now, so it's like for me to somebody asked me for the ganache recipe, and I had to scroll back like 2.5 years to find it. So a rhubarb question. I answered this exactly the same thing this time last year and the year before that. Rhubarb is quite fibrous. It's got good water content, but it is very, very fibrous. So put it into a pan, chop it into small pieces. Okay, you don't need to peel it or anything. Put it into a pan. Don't put any sugar in it, because all we're going to do is get the juice from it. So put it into a pan, put a tight fitting lid. If you want to, put cling film over the top of it. Just, you want to warm it through, not boil it, warm it through until the fruit breaks down. Then you can puree it. If you try pureeing it without cooking it, you will find that your blender gets absolutely matted with what looks like seaweed and angel hair. We're going to warm it up to extract the juice. Keep a tight lid on it because we want to keep hold of some of that water. Put it into a blender, and then we're going to strain it through a really fine sieve so that we just get the juice. And then you've got a couple of options. With the juice, I would reduce it. I would boil it down by half. I'd boil it down by half. Don't add any additional water to it. Don't add any additional sugar to it. And the reason for that is when you come to make pâte de fruits or ganache or anything like that, you then don't have to calculate the sugar content of that juice. What's nice about the Byron frozen purees and some others that are on the market, they have no added sugar. So the label on the outside, it's literally just the water content and the fruit content. And and how thick it is in terms of a bricks or bomb measurement. But with the rhubarb, yeah, just juice it, reduce it down, juice it, so just extract the juice from it, and then you want to reduce it by half just to give it that big old punch of flavour. And if you, with that half, you can freeze those as blocks, put them in Ziploc bags, freeze them as ice cubes, drop them into drinks, do all sorts of things. I think rhubarb's a really, really beautiful flavour, and it's quite perfumed, and it's incredibly unique. There is no other fruit like it. There's no other flavour like it. And as you reduce it down, it's got natural fructose. It's got a lot of fructose in it. So as it reduces down, it kind of almost thickens. You can make a syrup. Quite versatile. But you do need to reduce it, take down that water content, right? But don't waste rhubarb. It's really nice. I've got to scroll through. There's lots. Vermicelli. Forest Road chocolates. You know, you get the little shards. They're the tiny little shards of different colours. I don't know what you call them in the US or Canada. I know them as vermicelli. It's the little chocolate strands, the tiny little baby chocolate strands. Sometimes truffles get rolled in that. You can roll truffles in whatever you want. If you want to do it into, if you want to roll your truffles into a load of Oreo crushed biscuits, that's absolutely fine, as long as you are making something that people want to buy, right? Don't go weird and start making stuff that people don't want to buy. Bizarrely, my truffles don't sell that well. How do you present them? The pricing is everything, right? Can I borrow your little helpers? No, I need them. They're on a break today. They're not. You like the handles on the bowls? I don't know. Do you know what? Maybe I need to find out where they're from and start selling them. We're all lads. I hope Morrison's don't stop doing those bowls. There'll be a UK Chocy Chat rebellion. Yeah, there will. Everybody in Chocy Chat. To me in Chocy Chat, you have to have those bowls and you have to have a sticker. Now, I know there's a lot of stickers gone out because we've done like 4,000 or 5,000 now. We've done more than that. We've done 7,000 or 8,000 stickers. That's the bowl of choice for chocolatiers in the UK. Takes 1.7 kilos, which will do 4 of those. IKEA has a set of 2 and they have a foot, which is nice. Happy days. What's that? We can buy microwavable bowls for $30 each. Why are they that much? I don't know. Is New Zealand dollars different too? I don't know. That seems like a lot of money. Chef, last week you showed a container of dairy-free heavy cream that you use. Could you repeat the name of the cream again? It's not dairy-free. It's a UHT substitute. I don't use this for. It does have. It's a blend of buttermilk and vegetable oils, but it's 69% buttermilk. It's that one there. I don't use that for everything, but I do use that for caramels because I quite like that for caramels. I do like that for caramels. I find it's called Elm Lee, but there's a plant-based version as well, which kind of for me works exactly the same. When I've made caramels, not that I make a lot of dairy-free or kind of plant-based products, where I've had to make a vegan caramel, the Elm Lee Plant Life one worked an absolute treat. It worked exactly the same as the other one. So. Pretty fancy chocolates. Would a fruit caramel have the same shelf life as a standard caramel, subject to water content being the same? It's not just, with caramels, the shelf life is not just the water content. Obviously, once we boil it, it's the fat content as well. So with fruit-based caramels, you're trying to get a bit more fat in there. So what I mean by fat is more cocoa butter in there, more cream in there if you need to. The vegan caramels, they have a good shelf life. I don't think they're as good as like the normal equal amount sugar to cream ratio, because you're using a fruit juice, so there'll be less cream in there, there'll be less fat content in there. So what you need to do is up the fat content as well. What's binding up the water in caramels is kind of the inverted sugar from heating, but then also the amount of fat that's left in there that it naturally emulsifies, and then also thickens as well. And then we take it to 104 or higher, whichever. We take it to 104 minimum, just to boil off those last few bits of water, to give us a very, very strong bound up water content. You know, there is water content in caramel, but it's not a lot. It's absolutely minute. It's quite hard to get a reading sometimes. So why plastic bowls so expensive in New Zealand? Is there a law that you can't buy them, or actually there's a few places you can't get plastic. I can't send any. There are states in the US that I can't send parcels to with any plastic other than the label on the outside. There can't be any plastic on the inside, other than the bottles, which are HDPE and recyclable. But I can't have any additional plastic packaging. But there's a few countries, there's a few states in the US that I can't send stuff to. So, okay. So Miss Tiff saying vermicelli in the US is sprinkles and jimmies. Jimmies over here means something completely different. So let's stay off that subject. Oh dear, my mind's just hit the gutter. I've got the book Chocolatier Kitchen, and quite a few recipes use dextrose or sorbitol. If I substitute it with a different sugar, e.g. glucose syrup, would I need to reduce, would it reduce the shelf life? Grange chocolates, it's really to do, the type of sugar they use is to do with the sweetness of it. I don't think it's hugely going to affect the shelf life. It's really to do, I mean, I'm not a big fan of dextrose in it's a little bit old fashioned. Sorbitol and dextrose aren't the same things. Sorbitol and dextrose aren't the same things in terms of shelf life. And you would never put, for the amount of dextrose, you would never substitute it with sorbitol. One, it'd be very expensive. And two, anybody that knows anything about sorbitol, it'd be very explosive. Humanly, I mean. If you want to, yeah, the challenge with that, I know the book that you're talking about, that book was aimed at selling Callebaut products, right? So every recipe is like, you've got to have this, got to have this, got to have this, and then you can't find it, right? I don't think you could use glucose. I think dextrose tends to come as a dry powder, so you might be able to swap it like for like glucose powder to glucose to dextrose powder. Tell me what Grange chocolates. Tell me what a recipe it is, and I'll have a look. Ping me Grange chocolates. Just message me what it. Yeah, Grange chocolates. Message me what the recipe is, the page number, and which one it is, and then I'll have a look and I'll come back to you on that one via Instagram Messenger. Right, that's probably the easier way. I need to just have a look at what else is going on in that recipe. So, Chockies by Sarah. Been getting those bowls from Morrison's for a few years. Love them. If you're in the US and you're travelling to the UK and you go near a Morrison's, yes, they have those bowls. My truffles in bags of 10, either hazelnut gandusia rolled in hazelnut nibs or salted caramel rolled in full of $10.99. I do mine at $7.50, which might be why they sell. I don't want to make lots of profit on truffles. I want it to be an additional spend, right? And I do 12. God, Paula. Zozy chocolates, hello. Billy's joined us. Billy's pointed out, Chocy Chat crew, we all use the same bowls, the same airbrush, the same cocoa butter and compressor. Yeah. And luster dust. And I bet we've all got the same silicone mats from AliExpress. They're like $1.20. You can get the ones that have the neat writing of that brand on it. They're exactly the same one, but they're like 12 times the price. I don't know if I'm allowed to promote on here, but yeah, AliExpress. If you don't mind waiting, silicone mats, and I'll get these big ones. I think these were $2.50, right? As I said, I teach home chocolatiers. I do visits to professionals. I do visits to shops. I do bits and pieces here and there. But the majority, like it's either cocoa butter, making snacks for the girls. That seems to be my full-time job. Teaching or doing the cocoa butters. I teach home producers. Like I teach people who are based at home. So I don't want to go off and, would I use a Selmy? I would probably use it when I have big orders. The problem is I don't want students to come here and then go, well, I can't afford that machine, so why are you showing it to me, right? Like I wouldn't teach you to drive in a Ferrari and then you go home and go, well, I'll just get into my little Morris Minor, and it's like, it's not quite the same skill, is it? So, Sophia, going to come say hello?
Hello.
This is the original So Sassy crew. So Sophia So Sassy, 3 years today, right?
Oh yeah, 3 years.
3 years. I don't know where it's gone. You're a bit older than that, though, aren't you? Just a bit. Did you like chocolates? Did you leave me any?
Yeah.
These were chocolate orange.
And caramel.
Chocolate orange caramel, and hazelnut and orange ganduja. And I'll do a post about that. There's some cool stuff coming out in the next few days. I'm going to show you a couple of chocolate techniques which that should get people chatting, and some additional things that you can do. Not all of them are coloured, not all of them. Some are bars, some are shells, some are different bits and pieces. So,
yeah. Is it ganduja or yanduja?
Ganduja. I don't know.
Yanduja or ganduja?
Fleur Surprise is in Milan, and she came here for a class, and she lectured me the whole day on how I mispronounce it. And when she left, I said, right, I'll call it ganduja from now on. Just brilliant.
Hi. Hello. Chat.
Sweet Driver's there. I think down in Sweet Driver. You're down in Texas, aren't you? Mr. Max, hello. Oh gosh, there's lots of people. Come on in.
Chocolate party.
Chocolate part. Ah, that was my knee. God, I think the bone just snapped. Say hello to Chocy Chat crew.
Chocy Chat.
Okay, go. Let me finish the conversation. Yella. Ruhi.
Yeah.
Yella Ruhi, go.
Rude criminal offence.
Wow. I've got... You're 8 years old and you're acting 18.
Can I have a chocolate?
No, you can't. They've all been finished. You've got yours. Ruhi, go, Yella.
Rude.
I know, right? What is the temp and humidity you keep your chocky fridge? Also, do you store chocolates in it? I've got a Foster's, mine are Foster's fridges. They're commercial grade fridge. I had the control redone so that I could have it set at 12 degrees or I could set it down at 4 degrees. The majority of the time I have it set at 8. I don't worry about the humidity in it because the motor in it is so big, and what you get with a commercial fridge is a big motor, and you also generally you get a heated door seal. And with the big motor, if I open the door, like the fridge can be silent, but if I open the door and it closes, the motor turns on and sucks the air out and creates a vacuum. So no humidity really builds up in it. I do, yeah, it's summertime I will store chocolates in it. It depends on the filling. We'll put them into boxes and we'll store them, and they might go in there for 3 or 4 days. I tend to make, like for the bulk orders and the whole, not the wholesale, but for the bulk orders that go out, and then the bulk orders of the boxes, I will aim to get those made 2 or 3 days before the delivery date, and they will probably go in the fridge in their boxes, and I've never had a major problem, and they're transported cold. In the winter we will have everything at room temperature. Humidity today was a brilliant chocolate day because I had 18 degrees and 42% humidity, so I ended up having a bit of a play and I ended up doing quite a few things today. I just locked myself in here and had a little bit of a play. We had to do gymnastics earlier, but it's like 2 hours. So if I store chocolates in the fridge, very often it will go in one of these. If I store chocolates in the fridge, if I need to store them in the fridge, they'll go in these trays. I can get 70 in here. I don't double stack them. I've explained that before. Like, you know, people go, you can get 140 in there. The problem is they're beautiful and shiny, and then you double them up and they'll get scratched and scuffed, which is just the opposite of what you were trying to achieve in the first place, right? I get 70 in there. I'll cling film the top, and we'll store them. If they're going in the freezer, it'd be the same situation, only I'd backpack it or vacuum it, very lightly vacuum it. I mean, barely sucking the air out of it, so that I can write on the outside of that sleeve. The challenge comes with the wine fridges, and I know this is a question I've answered so many times. Wine fridges are for wine, and the motor isn't big enough. if you keep opening and closing the doors, because the very design of it is you'd open the door, take the bottle out, right, close the door, and probably not go near it for a few hours, in which case the temperature, there isn't massive fluctuation in temperature, right? So wine, particularly the whites, will spoil if they keep having this hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. They will sour. So commercial fridges is the way. I get a lot of questions about wine fridges and should you use wine fridges. I think if you're making chocolates and they're made and you can have the fridge at 16 degrees, which is kind of quite temperate, they'll store in there, and then from there you can sell them, right? I wouldn't be using a wine fridge to store them long term, and you can't really use the wine fridge for production. For example, these, like, it was warm enough today. I didn't put the air conditioning on, and I wanted to retract those because I wanted to do the post, and they took me like 2 hours. They're only shells, right? But it took me 2 hours start to finish to paint them and then shell them. But I used the fridge just to force that to retract so that I could have some shells to post on. Said I'd never make shells only, but I quite like getting in there and just painting different designs so that I can I want to understand more about how my product works as well. I'm still experimenting, I'm still investigating, I'm still exploring, this is my playroom. This is not a chocolate lab, this is a playroom, right? The fridges, yeah, I know a lot of people that have wine fridges, and some people love them, and I know people that have had a lot of problems with them and then sell them very, very quickly. With a commercial fridge, you just get a lot more engine, and you've got a lot more ability to cope when the weather gets warmer, right? So, Scottish chocolates. My mats came in just over a week. Very impressive for something so cheap. It's a good solution, Billy, isn't it? It really is. You don't need to be paying expensive stuff, you just don't. So chocolate spicy. Good evening, James and Chocy Chat crew. Sorry for being late. You're not late, it's absolutely fine. Hey Chocy, hey everyone, sorry I can't join the party, I'm working. Don't like that W word, do we? So I'm just scrolling through. They're doing well. They've had a busy week. They've done sailing. We up onto the South Downs and did a hike, right? So quite a few miles and cooked lunch and did some outdoor stuff, right? And then sailing. They got on the boat yesterday and they just went and left me by the shore. And I think that's really poor teamwork. And I was and they ignored me. I was abandoned on the beach yesterday by my daughters. They went sailing without me. Yes, it did, Dark Chocolatier. No salted caramels in fridge. Don't need to put caramels in the fridge. I don't need to freeze them either, caramels. They're quite good at room temperature. You've got a filling that's kind of good for 90 days, probably longer if your room is cooler. I'd never freeze caramels. Just gandouches and pralines, I wouldn't freeze those either. There's no point. The only one that you really need to freeze are ganaches and pâte de fruits, unless you're making them now, and there are people that are making them now and just getting thousands churned into a walk-in freezer, and then they'll sell them in December, right? So not my ideal way, but you know what? Yeah, good. What's that? Good point. What's new? My wife's saying this is new. I don't know. Also, wine needs a certain level of humidity so the corks don't dry out. Another example. Wine fridges are for wine. I always answer this. People say, "Is wine good? Fridges good for chocolate?" And I answer and say, "No, wine fridges are for wine." And then I feel like I've been a little bit pedantic or sarcastic with my answer, but I'm just being like honest and upfront. Wine fridges are for wine. They're probably good for storing chocolates once they're made, because it's a nice kind of 16 degrees, right? Robert Exo Chocolates, hello sir. I think Seren got her mum's phone and she's typing stuff, isn't she? Oh joy. I'm gonna go and tell. I won't go and tell her off. Who else got questions? Anybody else got questions? Anybody else want to know anything? Chocolates this time of year. What else? I've got some questions this week. One of them was on how long do you leave the filling? How long does a filling need to stay in the mould before you can cap it? Put a nice neat glove on, okay, or you can use the back of a spoon, but if the shell, if you filled them and they feel firm, you need to ask yourself, will that filling support a layer of chocolate before you cap? If it takes 12 hours for that filling to firm up, it's 12 hours. If you want to give them a shot of cold air in the fridge to speed it up, that will speed it up. Alternatively, I will always use a little bit of silk in my fillings. If they've got cocoa butter, if they've got chocolate in it, I will always use a little bit of silk just to speed up that crystallization of the filling so that I can cap them faster, so I can get them out. Because once they're out of the mold, I can get them in boxes and they are better protected, and I can get them sold, right? They can go where they're supposed to be going, right? So, Rainey saying, Mrs. So Sassy, did somebody get hold of the other phone? Brilliant. Seren saying hellos to you. I don't know what the dark sunglasses and the smiley face is about, but that's clearly Seren. Oh no, Seren's just writing everything right here. I thought Mrs. So Sassy was coming on as a moderator to help answer questions, but she's not. Is dextrose golden syrup or corn syrup? Neither. Golden syrup and corn syrup are two different things. They are inverted sugars. I can answer that one. Dextrose is a different thing altogether. Are you sending smiley chats out to everybody? Yeah. You just got busted. You're not allowed phones after 6 at night.
Chocolate is
You're not
my
allowed
favourite.
You're not allowed phones after 6 at night.
Yeah, what about chocolate?
I'm allowed a phone. I'm a big boy.
Yeah, what
I've
about
got people to talk to. You're really distracting. Do you want a chocolate? The chocolates are in the other room. Oh. Dark chocolate, no sugar. We're slowly bringing them over to very dark chocolate, no sugar. Right. That's a good thing. When using silk, same as tempering chocolate, 1% to weight. Yeah, absolutely. For ganache, I would. What I would do, I'd do 1% of that total weight. So if you've got a kilo of ganache, I'd do 10 grams of silk, right? Make the ganache as you'd normally do. If you're doing it in a bowl, it's fine. Once that reaches 30, 34, a little bit below, if you can get like 33.5, I would roughly do, if that was a kilo of filling, I'd do the 10 grams. Blend it through. I don't have it here. Here's a tip. I used this earlier. I found these whisks. I don't know where they are because it's just like I think they called it an egg beater. It's a whisk, right? I will use that. You do, if you keep that submerged and stir, you can get the silk to mix in really, really easily without adding lots and lots of air bubbles. But I also use that for chocolate. So where I've got where I've got melted chocolate, when I put the silk in, I'll use that. As long as it's submerged and you don't start using it like a whisk, you won't trap lots of air and throw that into it. But with the ganache, yeah, get it to 33.5. Add that 1% total weight, and then from there I'll give it a really, really good mix, and then we'll pour it straight into a piping bag. We'll lay them flat. As soon as they're at temperature, we'll squeeze it down and we'll pipe. Not a big fan of. This is one that came up as well recently on a class. They straightened the piping bag down and then tied a knot in it, so they've got this giant bubble. Okay, and in theory that kind of works when you're doing lots. The problem is when that bag's lying on its side on a cold surface, that end of the bag, or that side of the bag, starts to crystallize too quickly. So when you pipe, you get all these little lumps come out. And we all know that what a lump in a piping bag, like, there's some frustrations in life, aren't there? Finding a tiny nut or a little bit of something in a piping bag, it drives you crazy, can't it? It just makes you throw everything in the air and go and make a pot of tea, because getting something stuck down the end of a piping bag is just one of my. That is not a good moment when that happens to me. I'm quite patient, and I'm quite placid until I have a stoppage in a piping bag, and then I'm like the world's worst. But Get it down. Once it's in the piping bag, and it's down to temperature 29, 28, whatever it is you want to pipe, pipe, and you'll find that it skins over quite quickly. Once it's skinned over, when I'm doing a ganache, once I've piped a ganache and it's started to skin over, what I will do is just give it 2 or 3 minutes in the cold fridge at kind of 8 degrees. Just that shock of cold will speed up that crystallization process. Nothing magical happens in the first, if you leave it overnight for 12 hours, it will crystallize. The clever stuff happens at 48, 72 hours, right? So much, much longer. And if you force it, if you don't have a good emulsion, you can end up eventually, like after 2-3 days, you get these kind of little lumps where the fats all kind of glue together as well. So that's not particularly nice. Somebody asked that question on Chocy Chat page. Dark Chocolatier, what chocolate would you recommend for diabetic people? Not my area, mate, to be honest. It's not something I look at. I'd go to a leading supplier. I'd go and have a look at Keylink, Strawberry Red, and see what they've got in terms of diabetic. It's not an area that I know about. It's not an area I produce for either. It's not just about sugar for diabetics. It's also about the fat content as well. So, and then also what medicine they're on in terms of insulin and how often. So I think just picking a diabetic chocolate is not the answer. You need to know a little bit more information. So, happy days. I made beginners use a squirt bottle as they can just suck out extra ganache. That is such a clever trick, right? Sweet Driver, I know what you're talking about, because I've done this. I've done that. We've had to have an emergency bottle on standby just so we can get the extra out. If you overfill your cavities, there is no coming back from that. That's a whole row ruined, right? So you just got to be really, 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 really careful. Do I use heat-proof piping bags? I use a massive variety. I have so many different ones. No, I don't do heat-proof. I tend to. I buy them based on size, to be honest. I've got those. I don't think this type is. I don't think this type is heat-proof, but how hot does it need to be? Because that's a standard one if I'm doing lots. But then I've also got, I've got so many. This is another size down. So these are the ones that if I'm only doing small amounts, I mean that's baby compared to that one, right? We got bigger ones than that are clear. I don't think I've ever bought them based on being heat-proof. I don't know if I'd want a heat-proof pipe. Like, what's going in the piping bag that's hot? Because, like, if it's hot, you can't hold onto the bag, can you? Hot kitchen, we used to use the cloth ones. I don't know if there's anybody here that remembers the cloth piping bags before we got these disposable things. They were the nastiest. Chris Harvey'd remember this, but the days of the cloth piping bags, and you had to wash them out and hang them over the oven to dry, and they were just like crisp packets. Do I pour hot caramel? No, I would never pour hot caramel in there. We will get caramel down to 35 before we put it in a piping bag. And then, to be honest, with caramel, once it kind of reaches 33.5, 34, if I put chocolate into caramel rather than butter, and if I put chocolate in it, I will use silk. So generally, anything that goes in the bag is going to kind of be below 33 degrees, and then I'll lay it flat. We'll fold over the edge. So once I've filled the bag, we'll fold over the edge. We'll lay it flat. Okay. We'll lay it flat so it's in there, and it gives me a chance on this granite table. It gives me a chance to kind of flip it over and cool it down very, very quickly. Once I'm happy, like if I need to take the temperature of the bag, we'll get the thermopen and we'll just flip that one over to give us a. You can't see that, can you? To get the temperature of the bag, we'll just lay that on it and lift that one over, and it'll give me a reading. Once it's at kind of 29, which doesn't take long, we'll then just squeeze everything down and then pipe it. I wouldn't be putting anything hot in there. The problem is they're heat sealed, the seams, right? So if anything in there is too hot, you know how getting something stuck in a piping bag is frustrating? Wait until you've had a piping bag burst on you mid piping, right? I'm sure there's loads of people that have done that. Sweet Driver, yeah, you remember the cloth bags? They were horrendous. The smell. Oh yeah, Chocky's by Sarah. The smell of the cloth bags, they were absolutely hideous. It was just the worst contamination in a kitchen. And I remember when the disposable ones came out, and like the older chefs going, oh, I'd never use those, and the younger ones are like, no, it's clean and hygienic, right? You don't want to put stuff that's hot in there. You don't want to put stuff that's hot in there. If it's too warm, and I can't tell you what temperature, if it's too warm and you melt that heat sealed seam, you know, as I said, if you're ever piping and a bag goes bang on you, it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's earth shattering for most chocolatiers when a piping bag bursts, right? I'm sure there's Susie Floozy's joined. Hi Susie, I'm going in a minute. Time have we got? It's nearly that time. It's 21:35. Been here an hour. It goes quick, doesn't it? 3 years has gone really, really fast. I kind of wanted to say thank you to everybody that's kind of stayed along this journey. I know that Chocy Chat's changed things for people. I know that it's made it a little bit easier. I wish I could answer more. I wish I could answer more DMs. I'm so behind on all of these things. Friday night, it's Chocy Chat. The numbers I will post onto YouTube later, so it's easier for people to forward and back if they've got a question they want to follow again. Thank you to everybody. I think thank you for being part of this. I'm part of this as well. It's been a lovely journey. I've really enjoyed the last 3 years. It's gone very, very quick. It's gone very, very quick. And I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm not going to charge for it. I don't know why people think that I would. Chocy Chat's Friday nights. Chocy Chat's at 8:30. This episode is week 138. It's not episode 138. It's week 138. There's not many that have sustained this for 3 years, all right? So I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I know you're there. It's lovely seeing everybody on a Friday night. We've missed a few, but you know what? I've always kind of dotted and jumped in and out, whether it's been holidays or not. But yeah, 3 years has gone by very quick, and here's to many, many more. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for being Chocy Chat crew. Thank you for answering your questions. All the people that have helped in the middle as well, adding comments in on where they can buy this, where they can get that. The whole idea of Chocy Chat was to make the information available to everybody for free, and be a place where you could support each other and help each other. Because once you realise that you are not in competition with each other, you are part of a community. I prefer community over competition, because for that we will all get better and better and better and better. And if somebody's struggling, I know that you would help them. And if somebody's doing really well, you will say congratulations to them. Chocy Chat's amazing, and I'm very proud to be part of it. And sometimes I sit here, I don't feel like I own Chocy Chat. I just feel like I steer it, right? You guys all own Chocy Chat. So have a lovely week. We've got butters. We're still posting. I'm still waiting to launch the Cocoa Pearls. Just waiting on labelling, to be honest. There's some interesting posts coming out in the next few days. Thank you for sharing the post. Thank you for saving the posts. Saving and sharing posts and reels is what drives up the analytics, so that's always a good thing. I will play this back. Getting all these comments now, and I don't have time to read them, but have a lovely week. Keep doing what you're doing. Just keep working. Use the time now just to have a reflection on what you did in the past, and then have a think about what you plan to do in the future, right? Now is the time to get all that done, and we get everything lined up and ready for... Go and have a look at that post. It was a few days ago, and it was summer. Chocolatiers, what should you be working on? Some helpful stuff there. You going to say bye-bye?
Yes.
Bye-bye, Chocy Chat.
Bye-bye, Chocy Chat.
Take care.
Take care, and buy my dad's chocolate.
I don't have any chocolate. I don't have time.
Bye, Chocy Chat.
Bye, my dad's